for me to say that I can go through your budget and understand it as well as the Board of Ed, who worked on it for months and months and months. We worked on our budget for tens and tens of hours, and like Sandy said, we struggled to get to the 2% cap, so we do understand it. I understand there's a tax problem in town. We understand we're trying to all control costs, but you have to be rational and you have to be reasonable and get the best value for your money, and it's not always about the actual dollar amount. So that's the approach I'm taking with this. Thank you.
John? Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's great to see a full house. It's great when these these issues are what our town rallies around, and I've been in a few of these meetings where something's stirring out in town and everybody comes out for it, and anything that involves our children, our town really gets behind, and I'm glad to see it. I agree. I don't think the taxpayers really spoke when with the vote, because there was confusion, and I also agree with Councilman Mignon that it would be presumptuous of me to be able to in 10 days get into a budget that the Board of Ed spent months on, because we spend months on ours, and I get questions from people who don't know anything about the hours and hours we spent on our municipal budget, and I say, well, if you spent some hours with me, then you'd know a little bit more. So now I'm in that exact position, and so I wouldn't want to do that. I know that, I know why I moved into town almost 20 years ago, and I've got 2 kids. In fact, I'm gonna have my first college graduate who came through Riverdale and through Roosevelt, both of them. I didn't move into town for the big, expansive backyard. I didn't move into town for the thriving downtown. I moved into town for the schools, and it's been a great experience. I'm glad. I also differ a little bit with some of my other council members in that our tax issue, and we do have one. I mean, nobody likes paying taxes, but our tax issue is really more of a revenue issue than it is a spending issue. Mm-hmm. I see what we do on our spending side and how much we've cut, and every municipal budget has been cut 10% every year for the last years. I see what the Board of Education is doing to try to provide a quality education, and within that 2%. So there's only so much you can cut, and I know when the revenue side comes back, which it will come back, and we're working on that. When the revenue side comes back, then that's going to really help our situation a lot. But meanwhile, you can't slash and burn, because we pay enough, and we have a standard that of services that are expected. And when I'm looking at this budget, I will make sure that my vote is to maintain those services. So thank you.
Thanks, John. I'm still a councilman. I just want to have a comment. I appreciate you guys giving me the time tonight. I know I'm not as elegant as Mayor Watkins, but I appreciate the time you give me. And this budget, that was just voted on. I mean, the confusion that was out there was, it kind of got you mad. You wanted the issue to pass properly. As the council, we were concerned about that referendum pass. I'll be honest with you, the school to me was not that it wasn't important, but it was not my first issue, because I know if that referendum passed, we'd be in a whole different boat right now. And it would have been a disaster for that thing to pass, and that would increase our taxes in a certain way, which would change the whole game. But moving forward, that it did pass, that's great. Again, what the council has said, that we did take on our own budget. We took a lot of time to do that, and we do leave it up to the Board of Ed to present their budget to us, and that we can at least look at it, maybe give some ideas at it. So just as John Porco said, give us a chance first. I know you guys stick together, and that's great, but every department we deal with has the same type of thoughts. They want to don't cut us, cut somebody else. I grew up in this town, went to Roosevelt, went to Riverdale, I know this system, and it's a great system. It's a great system back then, it still is. My daughter goes to Cherry Hill, my son will soon go there following. So I do have kids in the system, and I do watch the education. I am blown away from when I was in kindergarten, the difference. It's a whole difference, like a university. especially compared to when I went there, which is great. And I just, you know, I'm still learning stuff when I go back and I look at it. But, you know, I look at, you know, moving forward that, you know, this council here, the town voted for us because they understood that we would take things and look at them and be reasonable with things. Everything that we do look at, we just don't look at through a, you know, through a scope and say we need to cut it. We look at everything seriously. And everyone who speaks here tonight, we take what you say, and we listen to you. But we also, that other 50%, we have to listen to them too. That's a big portion of our town. Because I too look at the real estate. My business runs from how real estate's doing. And I look to see if we're down 77 houses, you know, people on the way out. And I look at the culture and I see things changing coming in. I say, okay, where is this town going? You know, we ran for council for one reason, to, you know, to hear what the taxpayer want, but also to help out the taxpayer. Again, you know, as a whole, I think the council here really looks into what the numbers are. We see what you need, and we do take that into consideration first. Numbers, again, you can't only work off the numbers and hope that's gonna work out. Everything is taken into consideration. But again, I appreciate your time tonight. I know it's tough for you guys to get out. I wish you guys can be here every week with us, but you know, if you can, we appreciate it. But at this time, I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming out.